as I'm sitting here thinking, well, tomorrow I'm going fly fishing, but anyways, so I'm trying out my outfit and while I'm cutting meat for dinner. I'm just sitting here thinking about the history of dog breeding in America. One of the reasons that our genetics are so weak, and I don't hear anybody talking about this, definitely not my buyers. So I guess I'll be brave and post this on YouTube. But I've had so many conversations. I say the same thing over and over. This is what I want to say. I want to say why genetics are weak and why we need to hybrid, why doodles are so popular, is because they're genetically stronger. They just are, because they're hybrid. When we hybrid things, they get stronger. Everybody knows that. I don't have to explain that in detail. It's just a nice general concept. But why did our genetics get so weak in dogs so fast, right? So one of the reasons is because of social pressures. So, some of us are old enough to remember when we went to a pet store in the mall and we looked at little puppies and they were super cute. I didn't think anything of it at the time. But people were upset by this because dogs were coming from Midwest Southern breeders with really large facilities, like 500 dogs in a facility, female dogs, mostly female dogs, never being able to see the light of day. It was controlled lighting inside. There wasn't a whole lot of regulation on how much space they needed and how many times they were let out a day to exercise, how much interaction they got with human beings or with each other. So that upset some people. I don't know the specifics about all of those things, but I know it upset some special interest groups especially, and they put really big pressure on these breeders to quit breeding. They got death threats, bomb threats, all kinds of things, and I do remember that happening. I'm old enough to remember that. Was I paying attention? Probably not at the time. I was younger, but eventually these breeders did get put out of business, or they quit. Out they went. Generations of breeding dogs. Research, genetics, all the things gone. What didn't go away is European breeders. They're still operating the same as they have for a long, long time. Okay, what's the difference though? What's the change? The change is our dogs, our AKC breed specific dogs, the quality has gone down tremendously. It is due to poor genetics. One thing these breeders did understand and study and pass down as a trade was genetics. And because they had large kennels and because they were networked together, they diversified their genes, just like scientists do. Well, they were treating the dogs like scientific experiments, maybe. They produce stronger genetics. What happens when those breeders go away? And moms like myself are starting out breeding and they say, I have such a nice dog. I should breed it to my neighbor's dog. That's what I should do because my neighbor's dog is really nice too. They're both really nice and they deserve to be bred because they're so nice. They deserve to have offspring. Our family deserves to have one of their dogs, one of their puppies, and it'll mean a lot to us. Okay, that's the premise for breeding. No health testing, no genetic testing, no diversifying genes, no nothing. And then, overall, the gene pool gets very small because, hey, I'm a mom. I don't have a bunch of money. I can't import semen, nor did I even think about maybe getting semen from somewhere else or importing it or somewhere outside of my region or my city. Not gonna do it. They barely can handle driving across town and trying to get their dog to breed. So they pull that off. They think it's really great. And they're in business. Boy, this is great. So they're gonna go to town. Well, this happened over and over and over and over and over. No regulation on that, Like we're really worried about the regulations on these big breeders. And I mean, I can't judge them. I didn't go to their facilities. I didn't know the laws, whatever. But they did get put out of business. I do know that. Pet stores were like a no-no. No going to the mall anymore. and very much shamed. So we have massive amounts of rescue buyers, and then they kind of run into some problems. Not everyone is a rescue buyer, are fit for that in their season. Some people are, but I would say most people are not prepared for a rescue. So anyways, up the demand goes in regular dogs, and sure enough, moms jump on the bandwagon because they're stuck at home. So, great, it's home side gig for everybody without any knowledge, without any regulation, direction, incentive to health test, diversify lines, especially diversify lines. Everybody's kind of catching on to health testing. There's more companies out there. There's more money in it. There's more advertising in it. All things. So they're going to maybe do that. Maybe. But are they going to diversify lines? Do they have a reproduction vet that can chill semen, and ship it and have it done right? And then do they have the money to do the insemination and all that comes with that, and the risk involved in losing your money? Because it might not work. No, they're not going to do that. I start talking to moms about that, and they're like, that is out of my wheelhouse. I cannot drive to the vet. I've got little kids. I don't have $2,000 for artificial insemination. I'm not going to do that because, they're going to, they got to find this stud first, and they got to figure out what they're doing and why they're doing it, and there's just not enough incentive. So we have very weak genes. As a result, dogs are averaging 8 years in life. I'm not going to quote like actual lifespans and stuff like that for each breed, but I do know cancer rates are really high, disease problems are really high, seizures are really high, and that could be due to some other external factors, environmental factors. But that is my answer on weak genetics in dogs.